Assalamualaikum and good morning to my respected panel members. My name is Aliah Sahira Yusof and I will be presenting my final year project today. Assisting me throughout this research is Mr. Muhammad Nur Muhammad. The title of my study is Impact of Substitute Players on Attacking Technical Performance, a case study of Johor Darul Takzim in the AFC Champions League Elite 2024-2025. This research explores how substitute players influence a team attacking play in elite football. We will look at performance data from Johor Darul Takzim during the AFC Champions League. Substitutions are often viewed tactically, but what's the real impact of performance? The goal is to better understand if substitution actually change match outcomes. Let's begin with some background on why this research is relevant today. In football, substitutions are more than just giving players a break. They are a big part of the game plan. Especially in top competition like the AFC Champions League, every decision matters. Coaches use substitute to change the flow of the game or add fresh energy. But here's the problem. We don't really know if substitute actually help the team play better. People assume substitution make a difference, but there's not a much solid proof, especially with real match data. That's why I choose to study Johor Darul Takzim in the AFC Elite 2024-2025 season. I wanted to see how substitutes compare to players who played the full match or were taken off. This research helped us understand if bringing in sub really improves things like passes, shots, and goal score. It also looks at whether substitutions are truly effective or they're just based on habit. Now, let me explain the problem this research is trying to solve. In football, we often use substitutes, but we are not sure if they really help the team attack better. Coaches usually decide based on good feeling, not clear data. That's very risky, especially in a big game where every moment counts. We also don't know the best time to bring in a sub, like when a team winning, losing, or tied. This makes it hard to plan smart substitution. Right now, there's not enough research to show how substitution affect attacking play. My project looks at this problem using real match data from Johor Darul Takzim. I wanted to find out if substitutes actually improve passes, shots, and goal score. This can help coaches to make better decisions in the future. Let's move on to the goals of this research. This study was guided by two main research objectives. First, to describe the attacking performance of three players type, which is full-time, substitutes, and those who were replaced. And the second one is to compare the technical performance across these three groups using clear indicators. The goal is to find out which group contributes more to team performance. By doing this, we can see if substitutes really makes a difference or not. This objective form the backbone of the research design and data analysis. Now that we have set the goals, let's take a look at what other researchers have found in this area. That brings us to the literature review. To support this study, I reviewed recent research related to football substitution and performance. First, Peng Yu et al. 2023 studied over 5,871 observations from 395 professional players. They found that substitute players show more intensity and sprint distance than starter. Offensive substitutes also perform better in passing and organizing the attack. This shows that fresh players may have a short-term performance boost. The second one is Miguel Lorenzo Martinez, 2020. focused on substitution timing across competition. He also interviewed coaches to understand their views on when and why to substitute. His study revealed that extra substitutions reduce players' fatigue in regular time. However, this effect doesn't last long during extra time. Together, these studies show the sub can bring energy, but their overall impact needs deeper analysis. With that in mind, let's now look at key performance indicators used in this research. To measure attacking performance, I focus on 5 key indicators. First is passes. How many times a player successfully moved the ball to a teammate. Second is crosses. Balls sent into the box from the sides, often leading to scoring the chance. Third, shots on target. These are attempts that force the goalkeeper to make a save. Fourth, shot off target. This missed the goal completely but still show attacking intent. And finally, goals scored, the most direct measure of attacking success. These indicators give a clear picture of each player's offensive contribution. We use them to compare full-time players, substitute players, and replace players. Now, let's go through how the research was designed to collect and analyze this data. This study used a causal comparative research design, also known as ex post factor. That means I didn't control the match condition, I analyzed what already happened. This gives us a realistic and practical view of player contributions. Now, let's look at who was included and excluded from the sample in this research. For this study, I used purposive sampling, focusing on a player relevant to the research. I selected players from Johor Darul Ta'zim based on 8 official AFC Champions League matches. To be included, a player had to play more than 15 minutes in a match. This ensures the data reflects meaningful time on the field. Players who played less than 15 minutes were excluded. It is because too short to measure impact. Also, players who received a red card were excluded to avoid performance distortion. These criteria help to maintain consistency and fairness across all player comparison. In total, the sample included only players with enough playtime to influence match result. Now, let's look at the performance indicators and instruments used to collect the data. To measure player performance, I focus on 5 key indicators, which is passes, crosses, shot on target, shot off target, and goals. These indicators represent different aspects of attacking play in football. I use a method called hand notational analysis to collect the data. This involves manually watching match video and recording each performance action. It's a reliable method often used in performance analysis studies. Each indicator was recorded consistently for a full-time, substitute, and replace players. This ensures a fair and accurate comparison between all 3 players groups. With the tools and indicators in place, the next step was to collect and analyze the data. The data collection process followed a clear and step-by-step procedure. First, I obtained ethical approval to ensure the research met academic standards. Next, I screened match video from the official YouTube channel, which is the AFC Hub. Then, I analyzed each video manually using hand notational analysis. I carefully recorded each player's passes, crosses, shots, and goal score. Only players who met the yearly inclusion criteria were analyzed. This approach allowed for consistent and detailed performance tracking. All match actions were observed, noted, and categorized by player group. With data collected, the next step was to analyze it using statistical methods. Let's now look at how that analysis was done. After collecting the data, I used two analysis methods to interpret the results. The first is I applied descriptive statistics to identify basic patterns and average. This helped me understand overall trends in player performance. Then I used one-way ANOVA, a statistical test to compare the three players group. ANOVA shows whether the difference between full-time, substitute, and replaced players are significant. Let's now take a look at the finding, starting with passes. Here we see the average number of passes made by each player group. Replaced players recorded the highest number of passes overall. Substitute players had slightly fewer passes compared to replaced players. Full-time players recorded the lowest pass count among the three groups. However, time play is not the only factor. Role and match context also matter. These findings start to show us where difference may or may not exist. But we need more than just pass number to draw conclusion. Let's look at other performance indicators. This slide shows that average number of crosses and shots for each player group. Replaced players lead in crosses and shot off target. Substitute players were close behind, especially in shots on target. Full-time players recorded the lowest numbers in all three categories. These patterns reflect how playtime and timing affect attacking contributions. Substitutes often enter with fresh energy but have less time to build momentum. Full-time players benefit from longer presence and better match rhythm. Still, the data shows substitutes can have real impact in a short period. This difference brings us to the next part. Let's move into the ANOVA statistics to interpret that. To conclude, there is no significant difference were found between the three player group. That means passes, crosses, shots and goal score were similar across full-time, substitute and replaced players. All p-value from ANOVA were greater than 0.05. There is confirming no strong statistical impact. However, full-time and replaced players consistently showed slightly higher average performance. It's a reminder that in real game, small contributions can still influence outcome. So, while the numbers don't prove a clear advantage, the patterns are still worth noting. Coaches may still benefit from considering this trend when making substitutions. Let's now move to the slide which share recommendation for the future research. Based on the findings, I have a few key recommendations for future research. First, future studies should compare teams of different level from low rank to high rank. This will help to see if the impact of substitutes change based on team strength. Next, researchers should use larger sample size and include more match data. A bigger data set would give stronger statistical power and clearer result. It's also important to explore different league and match contexts. For example, do substitutes matter more in knockout stage or group matches? Or adding more detailed indicators like assist or build-up play could improve analysis. Overall, more comprehensive data will help coaches to make smarter tactical decisions. This slide shows the reference I used throughout my research. That brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I truly appreciate the opportunity to share my final year project with you. A special thank you to Mr. Muhammad Nur Muhammad for his guidance and support. I welcome any questions, feedback or suggestions from the panel. Once again, thank you and I look forward for your comments.